Hi, I'm Trisha from Club Scrap. Welcome to the Paws and Claws Page Kit Assembly Workshop. This one is for the dogs kit. So I have a completely separate video for the cats version of Paws and Claws. We have two separate collections here. They're very, very similar, but just different enough that I have to make two separate videos to help you avoid any confusion. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that Paws and Claws kit. Make sure you've got the dog version, and I've got my instructions handy. I'm going to set aside all of the goodies that came in the kit. Grab my papers. I have my Fisker's Guillotine trimmer underneath here. That's something you're gonna want if you don't already have that. And I'm also staying organized with my Accordion Pocket File here. This has a lip on the front that goes under the base of my trimmer to help me stay organized as we'll be trimming all the pieces required for all 8 pages together right now, okay? So here's my paper. What we typically do is put it in the order in which we will be trimming it. So let's hold it up and find the sheets one by one. We're going to begin with the paw print. This one should be like the third one in the stack. Take that print and put it face down on your trimmer base, and then follow that with the dog print that probably was at the top of the stack. Take one of those and put it face down. Then we're going to need 2 of the darkest shade of brown. So we've got a light brown and a dark brown. Grab both of the dark browns. You'll notice there's a really beautiful linen texture on this paper. Go ahead and put that texture side down, as we'll be flipping the paper back over again later on. Next up, locate the 2 sheets of the green. You can't really mistake this for any other color, but it's kind of a eucalyptus shade of green, and it has a pronounced texture on one side, so I'll put that facing down. And then 1 sheet of the rust, 1 piece of that gold, and then from the back of your collated stack of paper, look for the sheet of Cutaparts that just has the strips going across, followed by the other sheet that has a lot more small objects. Both of those will go onto the stack face down. Next, take 2 pieces of the light brown. There are only 2, and then texture side down on that if you care. And then 2 sheets of the cream. That doesn't have a texture, so either side is correct. Followed by 1 piece of the rust and the remaining paw print. So I'll find him, put that face down. And lastly, the sheet of gold, and then the final piece of that cute little dog print there. Put that face down. Flip everything back over to where we started with that paw print, and we'll start with our trimming. Beginning with step 1, we'll take that paw print now, and you can place it in the trimmer any way you wish. It's an all-over print, so it doesn't really have a right side up. And we'll start out by trimming at 10. So find that hole number 10. Make sure that paper is flush up at the top of your trimmer, because that's your guide. Push down firmly on this clear bar to prevent the paper from moving around, and then you're committed. Go ahead and slice. Now do not move the paper that fell. Leave it there, and I'll help you get it filed in just a minute. And then slide this paper down to 5.5. Now the 5 is right here. You want to go left 2 columns to grow that number to 5.5, stabilize, and slice. That's all there is to it. Let's take this piece that's in the base of the trimmer, place it in pocket 1 and 2, and if you don't have the Accordion Pocket File, it's okay. Just maintain 4 separate piles, maybe use a sticky note, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, to correspond with each of the double page spreads we're making. And be sure that when you put this into pocket 1 and 2, that you kind of put it out at the side like this, so you're not covering the numbers on the left there, okay? Now, moving on to this next piece that fell, this whitish one is gonna go in pockets 7 and 8, also at an angle, and then also this smaller piece that fell from the end, 7 and 8. Next up, we have the paw, or the dog print rather, and place it in the trimmer with the house in the upper left corner. And let's cut this one at 8 3/4. So again, to review, each column is a 1/4 inch here. So 8 plus 1, 2, 3 columns left. That's 8 3/4 and 5 1/4. So the 5 1/4 inch piece, we're gonna place that in pocket 5 and 6. And then we're gonna trim this middle section here that doesn't have any artwork on it. We'll start at 11 1/4, 7.5, 3 3/4. Gather up all 3 pieces that are the same. 2 of them go in pocket 5 and 6, and 1 in 7 and 8. This last strip, 5 and 6, there is a small little scrap that fell from the end. You can just set that aside and dispose of it if you don't want it. Moving on to dark brown, I've got a nice easy map for you here. You're gonna love this one. Just trim it at 6 inches. And then stack up the 2 pieces of 6 by 12 that you made neatly together and trim at 8 and 4. Okay, gather up those 6 pieces that are the same. 2 of them go in pocket 1 and 2. 2 of them go in pocket 3 and 4. And the last 2, 5 and 6. Nice and easy. Now the other dark brown, we'll trim into 1-inch strips, several of them. We'll start out at 11, then 10, then 9, 7 1/2, and finally 3 3/4. That's way down over here, 3 3/4. So you did just make 2 strips that are the same size. We're gonna stack those neatly together and trim them at the same time at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Okay, you just made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces the same for pocket 3 and 4, believe it or not. And the results is the pieces that fell from the end, those little guys, join its friend. It's probably the same size as a scrap. And now I have a wider strip. This one goes in pocket 7 and 8. The remaining 3 strips are the same size, 5 and 6 on one of them, and the other 2 go in pocket 3 and 4. Now, if I am going too fast, if you click the gear button, and if you're using an iPad, that gear button might be in the upper right corner of your screen, or it might be in the lower right corner of your screen. Just depends on what app you're using of YouTube. You can go to playback speed and then just slow me down if you want to 0.75. It'll really slow me down and make it possible for you to keep up. Our first cut here on one sheet of the green, make sure the other one's still sitting to your left. We're gonna cut at 11 1/4, 10 1/2, and 6 1/4. Then rotate and cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. These 2 rectangles that are the same, pocket 5 and 6, and the one that fell is like a little rectangle. We're going to trim at 6 and 3. This is a very common series of cuts that we make here, and these 2 pieces go in pocket 7 and 8. And then we have this longer strip here. We'll trim at 6 1/4. This piece goes in pocket 5 and 6, and the piece that fell goes in 7 and 8. 2 remaining strips here. They're both quite narrow. They go in 5 and 6. And you did have that little tiny scrap that fell from the end to join its friends, set aside somewhere else. On the other green, we're going to cut at 11 3/4. It's way over here to make a tiny piece. And 6 1/4. And we're kind of going to repeat what we did with the previous strip like this. So rotate and trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Gather the 2 pieces that are the same for pocket 1 and 2. And then pick up the strip that fell and trim at 6 and 3. Both of these pieces also go in pocket 7 and 8 to join their friends. And we've got a little scrap that fell from the end. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. One of these goes in pocket 1 and 2, and the other in 5 and 6. And now this piece, we're going to trim at 4 1/2 and 2 1/4. Kind of a weird size piece here, but bear with me. One of these goes in 1 and 2, and the other in 3 and 4. And we got this scrap here, And then a long narrow strip, we're going to use it in layout 3 and 4. Rust. Did you see what happened? I went here and I accidentally picked up 2 sheets of paper, the rust and the gold. I only want you to grab the rust. And we'll go at 11 3/4, 10 1/4, and 6 1/4. Rotate and trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. That gives me 2 photo mats, the same for pocket 3 and 4. And then we're going to do something just a little different on this end. We're going to trim at 6 and 3 3/4. Both of these oddly shaped pieces go in pocket 1 and 2, and there is a tiny strip that fell from the end. That's a scrap. All right, then we're gonna grab the next piece. This is 4 by 12. We'll cut at 10 1/2 and 5 1/4. The piece that's in the base of your trimmer, pocket 5 and 6, and the other rectangle, 1 and 2. That leaves you with this small piece, and I actually did find a home for it. So we're gonna trim this at 3 and 1 1/2. Now when you do the 1 1/2, just use your index finger once you find that measurement, and that's gonna help you make the 2 squares. Those go in pocket 5 and 6. There will be a small rectangular scrap. Now we have a long strip here for pocket 1 and 2, and the really, really skinny one for 5 and 6. Moving on to the gold, let's trim this one at 6 1/4. Give that a rotation and trim at 11 3/4, 8 1/2, 4 1/4. Gather the piece in the base, the one that just fell. They're the same size for pocket 1 and 2. And now on this strip, we'll cut at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4, giving me 2 rectangles that are the same size for 7 and 8. And we also ended up with 2 small scraps to join their little friends. Okay, now we have this piece. It's 5 3/4 by 12. We're gonna trim this at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Gather up all of the rectangles. Going in 7 and 8, there is a scrap that fell that we will not be using. And here we go with our Cutaparts. We've arrived at the Cutaparts. It's always a good sign. And if you are unfamiliar with them, you'll notice that there's some writing on the outside edge on each corner. It says, remove paper outside of corner cutting guides. And the guide is that those little intersecting lines in the corners. So when I cut my first edge, I just cut a little shy of that little line because I'm going to clean that up on my final rotation. So then I rotate, and I'm going to now visually try to line up the edge of that line with the edge of my blade, the outside edge of the blade. The first cut you make is a little hard to see because the paper is so large, but once you get that first cut out of the way, you can see pretty well. And then rotate again. This time I'm going to try to look at my 12. Oh yes, that's lovely. And then finally, I'll do that cleanup cut here. And you can see that little hair is literally like a little hair off the end of my trimmer, which I think makes this pretty amazing little trimmer that I absolutely have loved for years and years. Okay, so with this in the trimmer, you're going to have your teal or your greenish border on the right, the narrowest one, so that if I find 10 3/4 and I look where my blade's going to cut, it's going to go right through between the artwork, not through the artwork. Okay, and then 9 1/2, 9, 8 1/2, 6, and 3 1/2. Happiness starts with a wet nose and ends with a tail. That's for pocket 7 and 8. And then I'm just going to pick up all the rest of these pieces. They kind of went a little out of order, but I like to have them from my hand. So the one with the heart and the little journaling reminder, that's 3 and 4. Who let the dogs out, also 3 and 4. I won't sing that to you. We've got these two little dotty strips. Those go in pocket 5 and 6, both of them. Happy Dog, Happy Life, 1 and 2. And then we just have this piece with the bone and the collar, 7 and 8. Now we have this other sheet of Cutaparts. Again, the outer perimeter needs to be removed. So I'll do a generous cut there, rotate, and now I can visually line up the mark on the paper with the outside edge of the blade. And the more accurate you are on this step, I mean, I'm not a fan of having to do this step, but the more accurate you are, the better everything is going to work. And then I'll make that final shaving and get rid of those extra pieces, making sure that the paw border print is on the right. Let's go at 11 1/4, 10 1/2, 9, 7 1/4, and 3 3/4. Rotate so it says live, love, bark on the right, and we'll trim at 10 and 5. Just so that you know, Jacqueline designed these panels so that they would also fit well on a greeting card. I know a lot of you ask if we're going to be releasing a greeting card kit to match the page kit, and the answer is a lot of times no, because you can adapt the page kits into card kits, and it's kind of just a time limiting factor for me and the precious hours of each of my day. So anyway, these two pieces, let's see, the roses are red quote, so adorable, that goes in 1 and 2. Sometimes angels come to us with 4 paws and a wet nose, that's 5 and 6. Live, love, bark, 3 and 4. And now we have, I like big mutts, and I cannot lie. On the right, we will cut at 8 3/4 and 5 1/2. Now this piece has a number of smaller images on it, so I'm gonna loosely isolate the doghouse that goes in 1 and 2, and the collar. Well, I'll just separate all 4 of these pieces. Actually, we can fussy cut them later. The dog bone and the dog rope, the rope toy, both 5 and 6, and the collar 1 and 2. The other 2 pieces that fell, let's see, we've got I will just keep staring at you until I get the thing I want, your dog. That's 7 and 8. And then I like big mutts, 1 and 2. Oh, we are so close. Let's take the next strip here. It has the word protective. That'll be on the right. And then we'll go 9 1/2, 7, and 4 1/2. This piece here, pocket 7 and 8. The other journaling prompt, 1 and 2. The word loyal, 1 and 2. And the word protective, 3 and 4. Here we have best friend, that should be on the right, 10. And then 8. And 6. Who's a good dog? That goes in 5 and 6. You just have to say it like that, right? Who's a good dog? And then we have a small journaling prompt also for 5 and 6. Clever and best friend, 7 and 8. The 2 strips with the paw prints, 3 and 4. That's the last piece we need to file. All the trimming is complete. So I'm going to lock my trimmer blade, support my accordion pocket file. That's really important. Release the trimmer. And I'm going to leave this always on its back when I'm working from now on. And I just want to show you, you know, considering we started with 16 sheets of paper and 2 sheets of Cutaparts, these are our scraps. Not bad for a singular, you know, 8-page page kit. Okay, this remaining stack of paper, these are the bases of all of our pages. So we're gonna build our pages from layout number 8 up to layout 1. We'll work in double page spreads. So grab your instructions and turn to the very back page. That's page 4, and you're looking at layouts 7 and 8. Okay, those are the last 2 double page spreads. Take the remaining sheets of paper and stack them all on one side, and then remove the top sheet and slide it to the right. And then put that right in the center of your workspace. That's going to give us the base as requested in the ingredient list for layout 7 and 8. Now, what we need next is everything out of pocket 7 and 8. That's how we stay so well organized. I see some papers in there from a previous collection that don't belong. And I like to distribute from the hand if possible. I know I've got a lot of little pieces in here, but I'm going to take the largest piece with that cute little paw print, place it down on the bottom edge of the right page, and then the other narrower paw print is going to go flush with the left edge of the left page. And then I'm going to leave a small amount of space of that brown peeking through, kind of as like a little, you know, the deceiver, you know, kind of looks like there's an extra piece there. And then this one on the right, you're going to get this dark brown strip nested with this guy. Okay, there's going to be a series of 3 gold colored mats that are the same size, and those should be able to fit like a glove in a row right next to that strip. Isn't that sweet? And then we've got this other taller green, and then 2 smaller ones. So we're going to put these in a row like so. Now this guy, I know he's a really similar color to this, you know, but it just is how it worked out. This is going to nest the sentiment here on this lower left, and then you have 2 more pieces of the green that are just going to snuggle in right here. And then on top of these green rectangles, add the gold. It should nest perfectly. Then you've got Clever and Best Friend to go above here. And then you have your sweet little journaling prompt here. Now in your goodies, there is a cute little doggy paper clip, so you can add him to the upper right corner. And I put the clip behind so you can see the dog. That's so adorable. We have the giant paw print that can go here. Let's see, anything else on this one? I have some ribbon. Let me show you on the finished page how that worked out. So here we have page 7, and I took a hole punch and just punched a hole here and threaded the ribbon just to right about there. It doesn't go all the way through, and then wrap that around to the back of the border strip. That was before I had the strip attached to the base page. And then on the facing page, the only thing, oh, I wonder where that little, I think I misplaced the dog bone. That, I think I put that in 5 and 6 or something. Yeah, let me see, where did we put that in the instructions? That's supposed to be 7 and 8. So if you did the video, grab it out of pocket 7 and 8, and we use the dog bone right here. And you're looking live right on. I'm not sure if it's going to be corrected by the time you see this, but I will go ahead and make that correction. The dog bone goes on 7 and 8. Okay, moving right along here. I'm going to pick up the base of page 7 and slide it on over. That's why we do this step, you know, the dry fit without adhesive, because you can find things in other pockets that belong and figure out where everything's going to go. This here now is the base of 5 and 6, so I'll empty that pocket. And got some little things in here. And let's start. I like to just pick everything up, hold it if I can. I think the piece with the heart should be a good place to start. Put that heart in the upper right corner, and then the other larger piece flush with the lower left bottom. Now how about this dark brown strip nested with the green? And a lot of times in classes when people are putting pages together, that's where questions arise. It's like, where did that little piece go? Then speaking of little pieces, we have the narrow brick color or rust. That's going to go right above, followed by the other green and this other dotty piece. We have some larger mats here. 2 of them are going to go there. 1 will go here, followed by the 2 rectangles, and those will be kind of vertically positioned. If they're horizontal, they won't fit. Under that, I can add who's a good dog. Who's a good dog? Okay. Then we have 2 dark brown mats to go here. And then we've got a series of nestables. So the green will nest with the rust. And then on top of that, you can add your cut apart. Then we have a cute little doggy rope toy. And then this is just where I found a home for the square rust color sandwiched between the journaling prompt. Now I did some fun things here with ribbon. So let's take a look. On this side, I used my slot punch. Let me show you that. Just simply took the slot right there, added the slot, and then threaded it with some of the beautiful checked ribbon we've got here. Then in this open area, I added the checked cream ribbon. I just tied a knot into it. That's all I did. And then to that, I tied on the paw print charm. Now this doesn't move. I actually kind of tied it on, and then I used foam adhesive circle to secure the charm right in its permanent home. So it looks like it's dangling, but it's really not, okay? Very deceptive, I know. Now here, after nesting this onto all the layers, I used my slot punch to add 2 slots, and I just have a little tail of the ribbon going down behind with the rest folded and wrapped around to the back. And I attach this with foam adhesive circles to give it a little bit of extra dimension. So very easy. I'll add the little paw print to this, and the rest can be added in the final assembly. Now I'm gonna slide this over, and then we're gonna drag the rest to the right. That gives us the base for layouts 3 and 4. And we will empty that pocket. This one's pretty easy to put together. We'll start with our title over here in the upper left, and then add a green strip just to kind of carry that color in. And there's going to be a dark brown strip underneath that, nested with the paw print border. Oh, that's so cute. Now in the middle over here, we've got this guy. Underneath it, we've got another brown strip with the other paw print. Then you've got 2 rust photo mats to bring them over, but we're nesting them with the brown. And then make sure they're overlapped, and one's higher and one's lower, so that you don't have unwanted tangents in that spot. Live, love, bark. Then this is so cool. Just take a row of these going across here, and then another row going across the top. Nice. Make sure they're horizontal. Then this is going to get paired with one of the tags. You can round those corners if you wish, and then that'll get nested with protective and with some ribbon added. Now I have this corner rounder punch, and the R4 is in the center. It's a 3-in-1 punch, so I'm going to round it on the small corner, and then we can add this, add some ribbon to that. How about that big giant wood cut over there? And then lastly, we have the remaining little paw print charm over there on the left. Looking at my finished adhered pages, not a whole lot added. If you want to like add some ink to the edge of something, you can. That's entirely optional. Just a loop of ribbon, and then this was mounted with foam adhesive. Over here, I added the paw print with foam adhesive too to give it some dimension, threaded some ribbon onto the top, and then ran the end around to the back. Added this with our book binding glue, just a nice, easy way to adhere. And then I will pick up this base, slide it over. Then we have the gold, laying that on top, emptying pocket 1 and 2. This will go along the right edge, this large piece. And then we've got the 2 larger green photo mats will fit in that space. Right beneath that, add the rust border, and then this guy right below. Let's go over to this side. Let's add these gold mats. These layouts are going to be so cute. And then nest them with the dark brown, just for a double layer. And then I did the same thing here. I've got the green and then a large rust. Should nest with our sentiment for that. The little doghouse, after I fussy cut it, goes here. And then the rest is gonna nest with our sentiment. That's horizontal. And then I used one rust and one green to nest the final 2 craft colored tags. You can round those corners with your punch, trim out the little collar, that's gonna go there. The 2 doggy paper clips, instead of topping them with ribbon, I just did the clips. You could probably do both. And then top those with our journaling prompts and the word loyal. That's the general layout here. I did add some of the jute. I did a double loop of the brown jute here. So one length here, threaded it through with the other and adhered it to the back. Here's my charms and the collar. These items are added with foam adhesive. And then finally, a simple, just glue it down page. So add this on top. You can walk away right now, and when you have more time, you can adhere everything, or sit down and do that right now. Get your pages done, grab your pictures of your favorite furry friend or friends, and make a beautiful scrapbook so that you always remember those precious family members. I know they are very precious. Hey, just to mention, we also have a sheet of rubber stamps that go with this collection, and we did include some nice pet sympathy sentiments on the sheet, so make sure you grab that as well. And if you happen to have a cat too, grab the Paws and Claws Cat Edition. I have a completely separate and specific video workshop to help you assemble those pages as well. So thank you so much for joining me today for this workshop. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and more importantly, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. It's free, it's fun. We have a lot of great video tutorials that we come out with every month. And then also, if you're not subscribed to Club Scrap, think about a membership to Club Scrap. With that, you save $8 on your kits and on your monthly membership collections as well. So consider becoming a member of the Club Scrap family. We'd love to have you. So again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.